Hi, and thanks for joining the Two Pondering Pagans. I'm Salon.
I'm Rook. Hello.
And thanks for joining us. This is our second video. We figured today we would actually talk a little bit about our paths, how they're the same but also very different, and kind of our history and how we got to where we are with what we're doing. So I don't think we even did any real true planning for this one because we wanted it to just kind of be about how we do stuff and how we think about our paths in general. So who wants to start?
Doesn't matter. Why don't you start?
Well, thanks. I guess I will.
That's how it was probably planned in your mind.
It was not planned that way. Before actually that we start, I did kind of want to take just a quick minute because we are obviously just starting out and wanted to, get a new aspect or new perspective on what we're doing. And right after we started our first video, we had a death in the family, which was our Samoyed Lexi. That is our second death this year, unfortunately, our two Sammys. And I just wanted to kind of mention that she was a part of our family that really had a huge impact. Loved us unconditionally. She was more than a family pet. She was my baby. She was really bonded. And now you are likely to see 3 now instead of 1 Chihuahua wandering around behind us and throughout. So while we might have lost a few family members, we've also gained some, so that's been really nice. And I really do believe that even after they pass, our fur babies are always around us, and they stay around us, they comfort us, and they continue to be a part of our lives. And I know Lexi's chasing her butterflies outside and ruining and trying to catch flies 3 minutes after they've already gone by her. So with that done, I do want to just talk a little bit. I'm going to have to pick this one up. See, this is the thing. Come here, Petite. Oh, God, I can't take Tina and Petite.
You can never just have one Chihuahua, by the way. This is Iris. She's a new addition to our family.
And this is my Petite, who's not a new addition. So Tina is very upset right now, who is now underneath the table and wondering why she hasn't been picked up yet. So anyway, we have help.
Right.
I don't know if I can put her down.
I'm going to try.
Tina wants to be held. Anywho.
All right.
So basically, I'll start with, really right now I consider myself a pagan. That can mean a ton of different things, but it's really an eclectic path for me because it takes from a bunch of different areas. It takes from nature, Wiccan, witchcraft, things that I've read, druidry, a lot of energy work. I'm really heavy into metaphysics and learning about energy and how energy works and kind of the collective universal energy of how everything is connected together. When I was 15-ish, probably, I got into Wicca with a couple of friends of mine in high school. So, we really spent a lot of time doing the cool stuff and really just kind of learning about what it meant to be on the fringe or the outside of the normal. And that was something I've always felt. I was raised Southern Baptist. Thankfully, my family was not crazy, super religious because that would have been really tough. My church did disown me or disbar, whatever you call it, when a church says, no more, excommunicate, I guess. Not really formally, just, you don't belong here, basically, is what I was told. So that didn't help any either, towards the path, but it led me to where I was supposed to be.
How welcoming and inclusive.
Very. But I did learn something, in the grand scheme of things, is that even though that's how a lot of that that felt, I don't think that's the majority all the time. It might be, I don't know, but I can't believe that because it'd be too hard. After I graduated high school, I kind of went into, just paying attention to people around me that I may not otherwise meet. I would say I hung out with the unseelie crowd in high school too, but after I graduated, I met a self-described gypsy, and I say self-described because I know there's a lot of issue and concern around the term gypsy and what it means and what it actually refers to. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about it to use or not use that term appropriately, so I didn't call her that. She called herself that. And she really taught me how to, like, you know, pay attention to the small notes that the universe is giving around you, how to infuse your intent into the things that you do and make, no matter how great they were or small they were. She did like a lot of candle making. She had a consignment shop in Norfolk, or no, it was Chesapeake, Virginia, for a place that's no longer there. And it was really nice to have somebody like that who just, yeah, your energy's good. Come in, show me around. And she did. She didn't have to, and she chose to offer that to me, which was really cool. Taught me tarot. She taught me how to read tarot without looking at the book and not paying attention to what other people write the meaning to be or what the game says it to be, which, you know, I hate calling it a game, but ultimately that is a lot of where it came from. But it, just like any other tool, develops its use. You know, we don't use a hammer and flint for the same thing that we use hammer and flint for nowadays. You know, tools change their use, and one of the things tarot has done for me is it's allowed me to open up to my own ability to see and use truth and use energy and knowledge and things around me to really get into something. So it was a tool. Personal life got in the way. I was in a very bad relationship that, you know, kind of went its own way. I left practicing for a while. I got into drinking and other things that I'm not going to admit to on a video at the moment. That'll come later. And then got back into the spirituality, but instead of Wicca, which is what I kind of had learned, that initial, you know, Wicca and pagan push, it was a little different. I focused on learning spirituality in different religions. Many of my friends were Wiccan and knew Wicca and thought in that manner, but really focused on being a little bit different and away from that, you know, just learning the whole paganism and different pieces of it from that perspective, different spiritualities too. I mean, even going back and rereading the Bible, just trying to learn different ways and different things and how they all connected, because I think there's a connection to all the different religions and ways of thinking. So I know there was a point for about a year or two where I considered myself a Christian witch, not a Christian witch, but a Christian person who was also a witch, practicing witchcraft. Didn't work for me after a long while, not because of Christianity itself, but because of the religious dogma, I think, really just kept me from really diving and feeling comfortable in there, and some of the social aspects, definitely. And then I'm kind of where I'm at now, which is just being pagan. So there's a lot of things I could call myself, you know, eclectic pagan, metaphysician, druid pagan, druid witchcraft, druid witch. There's all these things that I could call myself or whatever that don't necessarily have the full meaning of what I am, so I just stick with pagan. But my path has been long and windy, as many people's paths are, and it's been nice to kind of create my own, which again is something that's hugely drawing or, you know, pulls people in for witchcraft or for paganism or whatever flavor, you know, you go into. So things that are a huge part of my path is energy. You know, we know energy is neither created nor destroyed. That is a really big piece for me. We have an ability to experience energy and soul and how things are connected in a way that we can barely understand. Elements are huge for me. I do think often in spirituality as terms of elements. Like I subscribe to a dual element path. And the dual element path really for me is the representation, and describing it is a newer thing for me. It's basically, you know, we experience the world in elements or through elements as almost like a sense. Like we experience earth, fire, water, air, spirit, or ether, or whatever you call that, and we experience it physically through here. But there is an analogous element in every realm or every different part of connection to spirit, and I like to think of those as at minimum a dual element, here in the physical and then here in the ether, which also can be extrapolated to, you know, many other things. Metaphysics is huge. These are pretty much everything that, just because we can't scientifically validate it completely doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I liken it to the cell phone theory. If you show a cell phone to somebody 80 years ago, 100 years ago, or even less, they're going to go nuts. Like, that's absolutely impossible. Can't happen. It'll never happen. You're ridiculous. You're stupid. You're crazy to think that every person could potentially have an item in their pocket that was electronically connected through invisible frequencies in the air. We just don't know how to necessarily describe it or see it or validate it, and maybe we never will. Maybe we're not supposed to. But that doesn't mean that those things don't exist just because they're not part of our visible reality. And then God and Goddess for me are kind of like, every single God and Goddess in my brain, and that includes demon, it includes spirit, it includes fae, it includes trolls, gnomes, whatever you call it. They all have an analogous connection to energy of some sort somewhere in some places. So, like for me, Cernunnos, Pan, Caradwyn, Isis, Anu, Osiris, Breed, they're all, to me, the universe. They are us. They are just as us. We are made of the same stuff that they are. We are in a different frequency than they are. And we use them to visualize or figure how to emotionally and spiritually connect to those parts of ourselves. But do I think Breed is a powerful lady sitting out in the corner waiting for us to, go see her? Not necessarily. And then I also have come to learn recently and have a lot more interest in animals and how animal souls work. So I'm really, really hyper focused right now on learning about animals and what's their purpose, because I do feel after what I've been through recently and in my life that animal souls really do have the ability to change ours and change our path and put us on the right educational path for our soul reincarnation. So truly, that is a quick rundown of kind of where I came from and things that I've learned kind of randomly throughout. So yeah.
All right. It's interesting, we have some points that are similar. So these days, I would consider myself a pagan, mostly solitary, druidic witch. I was raised Southern Baptist, and I went to church and followed the Southern Baptist religion until I was about 16. From about 16 to 28, I did not practice any spirituality or belong to any religion. I just felt so out of touch with Christianity and the feelings of guilt and obedience that I just didn't find a fit in any religion. The heavy focus on those things just didn't resonate with me. I was involved in a music group and choir at church and really involved. And the other part of that is I could not reconcile being gay with belonging to a church or any spiritual practice at that time in my life when I was young. I was actually asked to leave the music group and the youth group when I came out to the people that I thought I would be safe to come out to.
I think that's a common theme, unfortunately, for a lot of people that drives them towards paganism, even if they don't know what to call it.
And it was just even at that young age, 16, you could feel or sense hypocrisy. But I'm not putting down any religion or Baptist. That's what I grew up with, and I don't think any of us should disown or do that, but take parts of it as your foundation and what you build on and what resonates with you. Keep it if you want to, and what doesn't, don't. There's things in Christianity, a prayer. That's similar to a spell. I hold on to that. And I still do pray to the Christian God once in a while. Not often, but I think there's a place in my life for that, for me. So from 16 to 28, I didn't do anything. I did pray, but I didn't do anything really spiritual or belong to a religion. In 2008, I was 28, 29. A coworker invited me to a Unitarian Universalist church where I lived in Virginia. I didn't go for several months and then finally went, and I was just in awe that there was a church that studied, preached about, and honored all different paths and religions. They were also social justice champions and opened LGBT people with open arms. I still am associated with a Unitarian Universalist church through a pagan group that we're a part of called Cups. The UU Church provides support in their grounds to allow us to do rituals, ceremonies, celebrations, classes, and to be members of their church. And so that's very important. In 2018, my spouse introduced me to Wicca. He was attending an online school. He would tell me a little bit about it. I did some research and became very interested. So I enrolled. And I learned a lot from this school. I met many great people in the school. I ultimately disenrolled just due to a balance. It was very heavily focused on goddess and feminine energy. And for me personally, I needed more of a balance with masculine energy and the god. So I disenrolled. I studied on my own. I got all the books I could to learn about the occult, witchcraft, and Wicca. Through our Cups group, I met a druid and became very interested in druidry through hearing about her practice. I found out there's a practice that combines both elements of Wicca, witchcraft, and druidry called druidcraft.
I'm going to have to interrupt you for a second.
Go ahead.
Now I feel completely terrible that I completely forgot to mention our druid mentor, because she truly has been, even if we're not
now
on the same path, even to this day, like a week ago, she's still giving us more, or me at least, I know you too, but me, speaking for myself, more lessons than I've ever thought possible with just a couple of words. And in one action, one or two actions, she can do one or two things, and it changes our path completely.
Yeah. So I learned from her. I learned about druidcraft, combining both of them, and both elements of Wicca and druidry. And I just thought, wow, this is pretty cool. And I think they really complement each other as earth-based religions. So I'm currently studying, slowly, I might add, the Bardic grade of druidry alongside Wicca, with a new focus on hedge witchery, which there'll be more to come on that as I progress in future episodes. I like the rituals and tenets of Wicca and druidry, as I feel they really help one another or complement each other, appropriately gather and disperse their energy to achieve personal goals. What is a witch to me? A witch is someone who uses their energy, intent, focus to change situations around them to obtain desired outcomes. So I think there have been witches all along that aren't called witches. I do believe in the Rickenweed and threefold law in the sense that if you're going to do something to harm someone, and by harm, I just simply mean obtain justice for something or some wrong that's been done to you, I think you really need to consider the potential consequences and effective karma that you may experience. I think everybody has a right to do this and seek justice, but I also believe that as magic is an exchange of energy, there could be some blowback or negative effects experienced from any baneful work. I have experienced this personally in regards to performing magic for personal gain, and it hits hard. Can hit hard. It did for me. I did a spell without clear intent and for personal gain as the focus, and it actually affected my prosperity in a negative way for about 2 months before it righted itself. The universe righted it. Deities I mainly work with are first Ganesha and Caradwin, as well as the god and goddess. I really enjoy doing healing energy work and candle magic. And that's kind of a basis, about my story and where I've been and what's got me where I am now. So I do like practicing with others. I said mostly solitary because I think a lot of our paths are. But I'm definitely interested in working with others and have. Me and Salon have worked together on some magics because I think as powerful as a witch or practitioner you may be, there's always going to be times when you can use extra energy to to manifest things that you want to manifest. And that's really what I got.
Yeah, I in the beginning, I would say I was definitely solitary, but it's not even solitary, but not coven either. It was like, okay, the smoke keeps getting my eyes, making my contacts stick.
Give it to me. I need some cleansing today.
Sorry, my contacts are sticking and it's making me blink. I can't. So all I'm seeing is fuzz out of one eye. It's very hard to see.
Here.
But anyway, so like it's interesting. People have a question often about, which is better, solitary or coven? Are you a solitary or you a coven? People are like, oh, I'm solitary, I don't like people. Oh, I'm a coven, you have to have power. I find a lot of people really just work in groups. It's not even necessarily has to be coven work, My path and my practice can be solitary at times because I'm often alone when I'm traveling for work. Or even home, sometimes I just want to do something by myself, and that's important. But having the group of people to also at least socialize with that have similar minds is great. Now, it's not a true coven at all, because I have experienced true coven work where there's rules and people and there's 13 and everybody has their role and all that. And I don't find that to be exceptionally different than the path that I take any other time when I'm practicing magic by myself. I don't necessarily see that difference, but I know there's going to be a lot of people that would say, well, then you didn't do it right, or this is... No. Everybody's path has to be right for them, and maybe coven work is right for you at a certain time, and it's not at another time. We do participate with the cups. We do participate in our rituals in group sessions, in a lot of groups, and those rituals are relatively generic. They're perfect for when we're out, but then we do our own rituals here that are specific and a little bit more attuned to what we're actually doing. So I find that coven work is not required, and I find that being solitary with a group to rely on and work with is very beneficial for many reasons. So that's kind of my thought on the whole coven thing. But from a path perspective, I think my big thing now is I kind of want to share my path more often and what we've learned and what we do. So in most of or many of our videos, you're going to see kind of, I wouldn't say conflicting information, but differing perspectives at the same time of, things that you can do that would light your own path. So if you don't like my path, you don't like Roke's path, then that's fine. You can still learn something from it. Like I don't think I'll ever call myself a druid, but I can tell you the majority of the druid teachings are on point for me. They connect me, they help me balance, they relieve anxiety, just like many do. So the idea of having to have a path, I'm a Norse heathen, and I only do Asatru, or I'm a Thelemite, or I am a Wiccan, or I am a witch, and I am not a Wiccan. That's new. All that stuff doesn't matter.
You're magical.
Learn it. What works for you, what doesn't. If other people feel very strongly about their opinion of what they do, like the threefold law, then let them really strongly feel about the threefold law. It's going to work for them. If it doesn't, then for you, then don't, And I think the important thing about path work is that I might explain something and anybody could say, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Let me tell you, I have said that about other things myself, and I shouldn't have, but I did. That is just ridiculous. Why would anybody believe that? And all that does is squash your own energy. You let people practice their way, you practice yours. If you feel there's something you can teach them, you can show them, but you don't seek a student. Students seek teachers. If they want to come to you and learn something, they come to you and learn something. Just like with this video, it's why it's my preferred method and one of the reasons we chose to do it, because we're going to share stuff, and if you take something from it, that's awesome. And if you don't, write something on a comment on there telling us how dumb we look. That's fine.
Sure,
we're
leave
good
a
with
comment.
it. I swear I'm not a vengeful spirit that's going to find out who you are, dox you, and find all your information and send dog poop flaming to your front door. I won't do that. Actually, I might.
No, because then
No,
it could come back and the pipes here back up.
Yeah,
once you
that's
do
true.
that. I don't want that. Yeah. But yeah, please leave comments if you have questions or disagree with something or agree. No matter, we love to hear feedback, and we love to communicate with people, and that's the whole reason we did this.
Yep.
We're obviously not professionals,
Yeah,
So
you'll learn that quickly.
real quick.
This is the second video we'll put out. It's the
Yeah.
second time I've ever edited a video. The audio may suck, the video may suck. Who knows? But you know what? If you got something you want to share, please share it. We'll be more than happy. And then as we go through, I think you'll learn a lot more about our path. But again, wanted to give kind of a little backdrop on who we are and why we're doing this. And I think the next episode that we're going to start on is going to go a little bit more into the basics, and we're going to share some of our thoughts about the basics and how to connect elements and things like that, in the physical world. And hopefully we'll have some new tools around too, to kind of make the set work a little bit better for us. So
Yeah.
with that, I want to say I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you have questions or comments, please put them in the bottom. Share anything you want to share.
And like us, subscribe us.
Yeah, and like and subscribe. But the only thing I will say is if you have any type of phobic comments of any way, those will be deleted.
Yeah.
Because we're just not up for that. Don't have the energy or the time for it in our lives. But anywho, hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks for watching.
See you later. Bye.
Deuces from Salon.
God. Can I vape now? I've been holding it in.
And it's not a...
Maybe it adds to the magic.
Maybe it does. Okay, that part's gonna have to get clipped out.
Oh, sorry. That part's gonna get edited.
Nope, it's going in.
I do like some of these little extras on there.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I want to be a little less stiff this time than I was last time.
Try.